Hello and welcome to Rebel to Rise, where business meets human design. I'm Erin Hines, your darn good business coach, here to help you break the rules, trust your instincts, and own your brilliance unapologetically. In this space, we blend the power of human design with real-world business strategy, so you can ditch the shoulds, embrace your true self, and create a life and career that lights you up every single day. Ready to rebel, rise, and redefine success on your terms? Let's dive into today's episode. Hello and welcome back to Rebel to Rise, where business meets human design. And in today's episode, we're diving deep into something that impacts every single one of us: conditioning. Specifically, we're talking about deconditioning, or as I like to call it, unlearning all those shoulds that have been running our life on autopilot. Because let's be real, most of us were taught that success, happiness, and just overall being a good person come from a checklist of things that we should be doing. We should work long, hard hours to be successful. We should always be productive because lazy is bad. You should follow the step-by-step rubric you were taught in school or by your boss or that person on the internet, because why not just follow what they've been doing? You should dance on social media to grow your audience. Or you should work every day instead of taking a summer Friday or a half day so you could go watch your son's soccer game. Because if you did that, what would your team think? You should go to fancy networking events and make connections. You should set a good example and be the first to arrive and last to leave the office. You should have a streamlined strategy, 10-year goals, a dashboard full of KPIs. And, God forbid, when that emergency pops up, you should drop everything you're doing and tend to the issue right away. But guess what? What if none of this was actually true? What if the real success, the kind that feels so expansive, joyful, fulfilling, and aligned, isn't about doing more, but undoing all of the beliefs, the habits that don't actually belong to you? If you were anything like me, you might have thought that my mindset was keeping me stuck. That if I just thought more positive thoughts, no negative talk, or if I just kept telling myself, you've got this, whenever something stressful came up, or to give myself a little pep talk every morning, and that would help fix my burnout and get me unstuck. But from what I've learned, what's actually keeping you stuck is you're holding on to these stories, these traumas, these beliefs, and these inherited patterns deep within you. These patterns could show up in the way you react, how you connect with others, or just subconsciously, these patterns are holding you back from experiencing what you truly desire. And if you're like me, and I think most of us, you don't necessarily realize you're having these patterns. I mean, who really pays attention to what I might have thought as my personality traits? I've always thought part of my personality is that I'm a hard worker. That's just who I am. There isn't any questioning why I'm doing that hard work. It's what I do to be successful. So there's no questioning why I do what I do, because I'm not a bad person. I'm not hurting anyone. I'm not doing anything bad. But in reality, some of those personality traits, like hardworking, is actually what's holding me back. And that, my friend, is why it can feel so hard to break free from the hamster wheel and create the success you've always longed for. Those patterns are holding you back. And today, that is what we're going to unpack. So, what is deconditioning? Deconditioning is the process of unlearning all the expectations, the beliefs, habits that you absorb from society, your family, the world around you. And deconditioning helps you reclaim your true self. So think back to when you were a baby. You were perfect. Just being your cute little self was enough for everyone to love you. Or think about when you were a kid. You're on the playground. You didn't have a worry in the world about how you looked or what people thought of you. You just played, explored, tried new things just because it seemed fun. But over time, as you got older, you started to pick up spoken or sometimes unspoken rules of how you were meant to exist in this world. Be nice. Don't upset people. Emotions make people feel uncomfortable, so stop crying or stop making a scene. Saying no means you don't care. Don't be too loud or you're going to get yelled at or get in trouble. Stop asking so many questions. Work hard to prove yourself. Fit in, follow the rules, don't stand out too much. Then with all these rules, you've learned how to conform to these expectations. Because humans at their core just want to belong, want to be loved. So the more you follow these rules, you think the more people are going to like me because you're getting positive outcomes. When you stopped asking too many questions, when you're not as emotional, when you say yes to everything, everyone loves you. And who doesn't want to be loved? And by no means is conditioning always a bad thing. Fitting in is literally essential for our survival back in our hunter-gatherer days. If your tribe liked you, you were protected. If they didn't, you were alone in the wild, which isn't exactly ideal. So conforming and getting this conditioning is somewhat just basic to human survival, but also just to be a decent human being in the world. I mean, like, be nice to people, don't be an asshole and screw everyone, because yeah, your people aren't going to like you and not want to have you around. But what gets tricky is, even though we're no longer fending off that saber-toothed tiger, our brains are still wired to seek this approval. This also means that we're suppressing who we really are. Some of us are just more inquisitive. They want to ask a lot of questions, just know how things are from a place of curiosity. And when they're constantly told, stop asking questions, they're like, okay, there's something wrong with me. I guess I better stop. And not able to be who they really were meant to be. We need people that ask questions or nothing would ever change in this world. And when we don't stop to question why we shouldn't ask too many questions, why we should do this versus that, however we're being conformed by society's, quote, expectations of what we think we need to be doing to get them to like me, we end up stuck in this cycle that doesn't actually align with who we truly are, who we're designed to be. And for me, a huge part of my conditioning came from watching my mom and my grandma. They were always working. It wasn't even a question if something should be done. They did it. No breaks, no resting, no pausing to take care of themselves. And that's what I grew up with. That's what I saw. So naturally, I absorbed the belief that rest was a luxury, something you would do one day. If I ever found myself as an adult laying on the couch watching TV on a Sunday afternoon, resting up for the week ahead, my brain would always immediately start the guilt trip. I should be more productive. I should be cleaning. I should be working out. I should be doing something useful. I should be accomplishing something instead of just sitting here. And this mindset also followed me into my career. This idea of push through no matter what. I go to work sick. I rarely took time off. Even when I was exhausted, I'd still show up. Thinking back, even in high school, I never took sick days. I never really let myself rest. I kept pushing, even when I wasn't 100%, because that is what I'd seen all my whole life, and that's what I thought I should do, too. And honestly, it eventually caught up with me. In 2022, I started burning out, and I ignored it, and I kept going, because that's what I do. I had always done. And eventually my body said that was enough. I ended up bulging a disc in my back, which ended up pressing on a nerve, which, if you don't know, is excruciating. It's like a knife in the back that kept twisting deeper every time I moved. I was knocked out for an entire week. I could barely walk. I could barely sit. I had no choice but to stop. and actually rest. And you'd think I would have learned from that wake-up call, right? Nope. And little caveat, to be fair, this was before doctors figured out what was wrong with me, but that's another story. So when I recovered, I went right back to my old patterns. Obviously, being out for a week, there was things to do. I was behind. But guess what happened? 6 months later, I re-injured myself, but this time even worse. I was out for 3 weeks. I could barely stand. I literally couldn't look down because my neck going down pulled the muscle in my back even harder. So I was in instant pain. I was using a walker because the pain was so intense and my pinched nerve was making my legs so weak. And that point was my breaking point. Not the first time it happened. The second time, when it was even worse, was my breaking point. My body was trying to warn me the first time, and when I chose not to listen, it decided to just knock even harder. But not really knock. It was just like a punch to the face. Like, there's no way you're going to miss this time. You need to slow down. And, well, I took that cue. I had finally realized that I had spent my entire life believing that pushing through was what I should do. It was the only way. And I had so much time to rest and really be with myself in those 3 weeks that I realized I really had to break this habit of just pushing myself to my limits, to undo this conditioning that was literally breaking me. And I had to let go of this belief that constantly working was the only way to be successful. And this was not easy. I had always thought working hard was part of my personality. When you spent your whole life around people hustling and pushing through, it felt so wrong to give myself the rest that I truly needed. There was so much guilt when I recovered and I was trying to make more space, set those boundaries to give myself more time to rest. Come in 30 minutes later to work. That's not going to kill anyone. But there was so much guilt just doing something so simple as coming in to work 30 minutes later because I just wanted to take the morning a little slower. It was the guilt of, why should I get to slow down when everyone else around me was still pushing forward? If I slow down, I'm going to fall behind. If they're not taking breaks, why should I? And what really kept coming up with the guilt was, if my mom was able to juggle a career, caregiving for my grandma, raising a family without stopping, then shouldn't I be able to handle my life without resting? But the more I got curious and dug deeper into that thought, what I learned was, in reality, resting was not selfish. Resting is actually doing something. The act of resting is doing. And the more I was able to fill my cup doesn't mean I'm taking away from my ability to help others. It's that the fuller my cup is, the more I'm able to give, the more energy I have, the more I could confidently say yes, because I know, I have the energy to help you, and there wouldn't be resentment behind that yes. Because I was already drained and now I have to do something for you and I don't want to upset you, so I should say yes and do it. But when I was filling my cup more and more, I had more energy to just want to help people from a place of just loving to help people. Because when you think about it, when you're exhausted, drained, or running on empty, how much do you actually have to offer to others? There's not much energy left. When you take care of yourself, when you rest, when you listen to your body, when you actually slow down, get curious about why you feel the way you do and not just push through, when you stop believing you should do something just because that's what successful people do, letting go of those shoulds that are just draining you, you're able to have the energy to show up for things that matter. And the more you show up to the things that actually matter, that's where the true impact and fulfillment happens. So deconditioning does not happen overnight. It is a process, And the first step to that process is awareness. So me laying in bed for 3 weeks give me plenty of time to really reflect and get aware of how I got to that place and where I'm at. I think most people think conditioning only shows up in big in-your-face ways. It's like working long hours or overcommitting to things that drain you, but it also sneaks up in little moments in your day and you might not even consciously realize it. You might think, I shouldn't eat that brownie because it's going to make me gain weight. But is that actually true? Will one brownie really harm you? Or is that just a conditioned belief about baked goods are bad and so you're guilting yourself? Or maybe you think, I can't take a day off from work. If I took off a day from work, everything would fall apart. But will it? Will the world fall apart if you took a day off to rest? Or is that just something you've been conditioned to tell yourself because you have to always be available and controlling the outcome? And maybe you think I should just say yes as a favor, or if I say no, they'll be upset. But in reality, if they truly respect you, wouldn't they understand if you said you don't have the capacity right now? And if saying no ruins a relationship, if you setting a boundary ruins a relationship, maybe that wasn't a real relationship to begin with, and you're actually better off without them. So conditioning shows up in 1,000 teeny ways every day. And deconditioning just starts with noticing those thoughts and questioning them. Those tiny little habits in your day, and the more you notice the tiny things, then they're out of your way. You could start noticing those bigger conditioning pieces. So I'm going to give you some action plans on how to start deconditioning today. First, I just want you to pause and notice the shoulds. Pay attention to those moments when you catch yourself saying, I should. Or even if you're saying, I have to. Start asking yourself, who told me this was what I should be doing? Is this the right path for me? Does this belief actually feel true to me? Or is it just something I picked up from what someone told me? Number 2, check in with your body. Conditioning isn't just mental, it's physical. So when you think about something that you should do, how's your body reacting? Your body knows exactly what is right and wrong for you, and it's going to show you in some way. Sometimes it's subtle. So does your body feel tight, heavy, or drained instantly when you think of that should? That's a sign that is not aligned for you. That is conditioning. But if your body's feeling light and expansive and excited, that is a yes, and that's something you should, or you get to do out of joy and not obligation. And number 3, a key is also using your human design strategy and authority, because that is a built-in tool for deconditioning. And we're going to get a lot into this into the next episode. But human design really shows you that you have all the answers inside of you for what your purpose is, and you just have to tap into those subtle signs. So instead of acting on autopilot, when you hear that should, and you just go do it, just pause for a second. And each human design type has a unique decision-making process. So if you're a generator, follow what lights you up instead of just forcing yourself to do things. So I should do that. Well, if it lights you up, just go do it. It's not a big deal. But if you just feel you should do it and you feel draining and then it's not the right choice for you. Or if you're a manifesting generator, really allow yourself to bounce around from one thing to another. That is how your energy is meant to work, to change paths based on what's exciting you in the moment. And so if something's not exciting you anymore, then don't do it. Don't feel that you should do it because you were told to. And then as a projector, it's really important to wait for the right recognition instead of chasing things. Don't keep doing things you think you should be doing. Wait till you're recognized, you're asked to do it. instead of pushing and doing it, thinking you're chasing something, success or some kind of outcome. And if you're a manifester, only initiate those shoulds that feel exciting. If it doesn't feel exciting, it's not for you. It's going to drain you very quickly. If you're a reflector, give yourself time to process, should I do this? Versus just rushing into something. Because when you rush into something, you're not able to tap into your body and say, is this for me or not? So we're going to dive all into human design in the next episode, but just practice these little tips on your human design. See how your day might get a little easier based on knowing how you make decisions. And number 4, give yourself permission to choose differently. You have full control of what rules you follow. You could rewrite the rules from what you were taught. You get to create a business in life that feels aligned, and that might not look like something you've seen before. You get to create a business in life that feels aligned, however that looks like to you. It doesn't have to look like something someone else has done. You're, again, meant to write the rules for your own life. You get to decide what success looks like to you. And you get to choose to say no to things that drain you, without guilt, without explanation, because no is a complete sentence. And number 5, start getting curious and asking why. A powerful way to break free from the conditioning is to question those thoughts that keep coming up. When you have this awareness about yourself now, you might start to notice a pattern of this thought that just kind of keeps popping up. And so start questioning it. Why? And for this, I absolutely love Byron Katie's The Work, which gives 4 really simple questions to ask yourself. Is this true? Can you be absolutely sure it's true? How do I react when I believe that thought? And who would I be without that thought? So, for example, you say, I think I should be working right now instead of resting. Is that true? Can you be absolutely sure that's true? What happens when you believe that thought? Do you feel stressed, guilt, overwhelm? And how would you be if you let go of that thought? Would you feel more peaceful, energized, free? This process of asking these questions helps you see your conditioning for what it is. And conditioning is just thoughts. They're not facts. And you have the power to change those thoughts. The magic of deconditioning is about reclaiming your power, taking back control. It's about releasing the stories you've been conditioned to believe and to start seeing another way, a way that allows your energy to be aligned and flow based on how you were designed to be, your purpose. Because the more your energy flows, the less resistance you'll have. So you're going to be able to think clearly, be more creative, and just wake up excited for the day. And what it comes down to is all about trusting yourself more than the outside noise. You have all the answers inside of you. So deconditioning is about bringing you back to who you're meant to be, back to your purpose in this world. I believe we're all unique little puzzle pieces, different shapes, and if we're able to live in our purpose, we're living out our unique shape in that puzzle. And the more we conform, we're all going to look like the same puzzle pieces. So if you're not living out your unique puzzle piece, the world is going to go to shit. And it's fun to think about. The more that we're able to live out our purpose, the more joy and happiness we could bring into this world, because we're not living from a place of fear, anger, or frustration. We're just living from a place of joy. So let's start this journey together. Just today, pick one area in your life where conditioning is holding you back. Whether it's work, it's needing rest, is it about food or boundaries, anything. Not every belief you have is conditioning, but it's learning to question what you believe and not accept things as truth. Because the more you challenge your shoulds, the more you could reclaim your freedom. And we all just want freedom, right? Deconditioning isn't about rebelling just for the sake of it. You're reconnecting to yourself. It's about leading in a way that feels aligned and powerful and uniquely yours. It's about trusting you have the power to live unapologetically and the world will not burn down. So start today. Notice those shoulds, question them, choose differently, start releasing them. And the more you release them, start to watch your life transform as you rise into the leader that you were meant to be. Whew, this was a juicy episode today. And if this episode resonated with you, I'd love for you to share it, leave a review, let me know your biggest takeaway. Keep rebelling, keep rising. Thank you for joining me on today's episode of Rebel to Rise, where business meets human design. I hope you feel inspired to break free from those shoulds in your life and trust your inner compass as you create a life and business that truly lights you up. Remember, every day is a chance to rebel against the ordinary and rise into your authentic power. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe, leave a review, and share it with a fellow rebel who is ready to lead their lives unapologetically. Until next time, keep trusting your intuition, keep breaking the rules, and most importantly, keep rising.